I think they'll test everything for us. All good? All right. Okay. Oh, I'll take it. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming to our event this evening. My name is Tony Negron, and I'm the executive director for the Florida Wind Band, and I also play principal clarinet. I'm joined by our artistic director. Also, he finds this church his home. He is the wonderful, the talented, sweet Matthew McCutchen.
I've called sweet before.
No sweet? Okay, we're going to put that in the bio official. And we also have guest narrator, South Tampa celebrity, three-time nominee, Ernesta Chicklowski.
Thank you.
And we are so excited to have you.
I'm delighted to be here as well.
So this is her first pre-concert chat. Matt's been through some of these, and as we were kind of getting this pre-concert chat started, Ernesta was like, oh my God, what are you going to ask? Super informal, very relaxed, but basically, I'm going to start with Matt first.
Okay.
So we've been bringing music to Tampa Bay for 18 years. We expanded this chamber series last year, and now we are doing 3 concerts, private luncheons, and this is going to be our free community concert for the public. Can you just give a little background as to why this is important for our organization to do chamber concerts as opposed to the large, full-scale, 55-person wind ensemble?
I think that everything we do is important because I think live music is important. And I think we live in a time where it's easier and easier and easier to listen to great recordings and you have no idea if they were live musicians or not, because they're making them better and better at this point in time. But you cannot replace watching musicians play. You cannot replace feeling them move. You cannot replace, it sounds different when a clarinet is coming at you than when you're listening to it on speakers. So I think that chamber music is intimate. I think audiences enjoy intimate. I think that the caliber of players in this particular ensemble is as good as you will find anywhere. I mean, anywhere. And I think that it's a real treat for, I think people don't always quite understand what they're going to get when they come and hear the smaller ensembles play.
Because sometimes chamber music can be a little intimidating. Usually the repertoire is, I would say maybe highly sophisticated,
right,
because it's more complex. And so there's not enough of the breakdown to understand. But when we were designing this series, essentially I got inspiration from our elementary background, and that comes from Peter and the Wolf. So this is very much done in a Peter and the Wolf style, where each instrument will represent one of the characters in the Greek story of Persephone. And I thought it was important when we were collaborating on this project that in our organization we have pretty much the entire life cycle. We have youth ensembles that we start as early as really 5th graders that go all the way to seniors. We have an alumni group that comes back in the summer that's filled with college students, professionals, they're dentists, they're lawyers, they come back and join us for 5 weeks. Then of course we have an adult professional wind ensemble that's comprised of 55 of the leading wind musicians in Tampa Bay. And then now we've expanded to this. And my vision really for it is to have this elementary tie-in. And so Ernesta, give us a little bit of background about yourself and your elementary experience and how you became a Grammy-nominated music instructor.
Well, thank you for having me here tonight. It's been really important as I've been in the classroom for 26 years to ensure that my students were learning not just the foundations of music, but a lot of the background, a lot about the instruments, a lot about their own voice, and all of just keeping the experiences very, very open for our students and making sure that they were making connections in the real world was very important to me. So oftentimes bringing in, students or either adults from the community showing that music is going beyond their school classroom was really important to me. I'm getting an opportunity for our students to sing in the community. It was just wanting our students to have those opportunities beyond the classroom wall was very, very important to me. And also having an opportunity for students to engage with not only just elementary musicians, but the middle school students that are in band and orchestra, of course, and the same thing for high school as well. And also keeping an engaging relationship with those educators that taught middle school music and also secondary music as well is important so we can continue to keep that cycle going in our community. That's really why I do what I do, just having all of those pieces work together so the cycle never ends.
So speaking of the cycle, I want to take you on a little history. The year was 2000. 9, and I had just met Matt McCutchen. I was late to his class, and then I was expected to bring donuts every time. And I hope over our 15-year relationship I've made up for being late, because now I'm never late. So as you've been following us, Matt and I have gone back and we've had a lot of life experiences together. So now I'm going to bring up some historical things about you and I.
My.
Yes, this is the inside scoop, and some of these you may not remember. So we're going to dial the clock back a little bit further.
Oh my.
The year was 2006. Picture it. There's a band camp. I know you're thinking. There was a drum major camp, and young, inspirational Tony was the drum major of East Bay High School. And I went to this band camp, and I was thinking, okay, I'm already set to go to USF. I was going to be an architectural engineering major. And then in walks Ernesta Chicklowski, Penny's band camp. Do you remember this?
I do remember.
You may not remember me, but I was there amongst the other 500 people at the camp. And Ernesta led this warm-up, and it was like kind of jazzercise. And she had everybody dancing and moving, and it's all these high school students that, you know, their comfort level is marching band and concert band and strict, and we're formal. And she came in with this energy and light, and I was like, wow, I am in love with this person, and I am so excited to like do music. And so that has been a memory that has stayed with me. So then I went off to college. I met John Carmichael. He's the one who started the Florida Wind Band experience, and he's the one that pretty much single-handedly transitioned me out of architectural engineering into music education and clarinet performance. And fast forward, I started my first job at Edison Elementary in 2015. And I met Ernesta again because I had taught elementary music with Jimbury playing music. And so then I went into the classroom and I met Ernesta at some trainings. And I remember going to Roosevelt, and you had all these stories. And it was, I forget what the workshop was specifically, but she had basically 35 books that she read us in 2 hours' time of all these different instrument activities that you can do with all these stories. And that's really where the inspiration for this has come from. Oh yes, I swear. And I just thought when we were doing this concert, I was like, okay, Matt, we're always looking for narrators. Who would be a perfect person? And you were just right at the front of my brain for this.
So kind. Thank you.
She is a wonderful storyteller. She is a masterful educator, and she really speaks from the heart when she's talking about this life cycle of inspiring musicians, and how Matt is talking about the way that you feel when you're in a situation like this, where we're all in this performance together, just can't be recreated. Although for those of you who are watching on the live stream, we appreciate that support too. But for those that are here, we are so excited for you to experience what we're about to tell. So now let's get into the story a little bit, and then let's talk a little bit about the music making. So you read through the script, and you said, yes, you were excited to come. And as you've been preparing for today, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to connecting the text with this incredible music. You know, as I read each paragraph, it was just like, this is like a wonderful illustration of like what I always knew about Greek mythology, but hearing the musicians come into life, that's what I can't wait for. I love the story. The story is very rich, bold, and exciting, but then knowing that I'm going to hear something that matches that with the music, for me, just peeling back those layers, I'm excited about that. Just seeing that connection come together.
You know, programming something like this is hard. So Matt, you do all of the programming for our full wind band concerts, and for years you had told me about how you face certain challenges with that. Can you talk about some of those challenges? And then I want to make some connections to some of the struggles that I had when I was programming for this today.
So when I first started teaching, programming was easy. If it said band, we played it, and that was, I thought it was great. The more I do this, the more difficult it is. There are all sorts of ways to think about programming. One is the wedding way, when you play something old, something new, something barred, something blue. That's worked for a lot of people. Another way to think about programming is it's a wonderful meal. What's your appetizer? What's the main course? What's the dessert? The vegetables are the one people usually don't like. You're trying to decide, is this for entertainment? Is this for education? Are we introducing the audience to new music? Are we playing music that they simply love and want to come and hear again? So there's so many aspects. Generally speaking, when you're programming for a big ensemble, you start with a piece and then you build out from there. In this particular case, Tony was starting from a story, which is a whole different set of challenges.
So pretty much my challenge was I had taken some of Matt's advice and tried to figure out, okay, do we have this big piece? Do we have these little pieces? And then I read through the story many, many, many times, and there's lots of repertoire for mixed quartets and solo instruments. And really what it was a Spotify list of about 5 different CDs of maybe 7 hours worth of chamber music. And basically I reread the story, and then I'm on the treadmill, and then I'm thinking through, okay, well, how does this make me feel? And then I pull up the music and I'm like, oh my God, this is really hard to put together. We're not playing that. And then I listened to some things and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful and relaxing. And then I basically just have this Word document that I'm just writing down pieces, and then I'm writing down my emotions for how the story is making me feel. And then I come back to the story, and then I start putting in all the different movements and the different pieces together. The other thing that I did when I was creating this was I was thinking about the musicians that we have in mind. So today you're going to hear Bobby Neale, and he is our principal flutist. He was one of the first people I met in Tampa Bay when I had moved back here, and he is just a stunning artist. He's had a rich career. He was a very, very highly successful band director in Pasco County. Then he moved on from that and ran a music store for 10 years. And after he accomplished all of the sales goals that he needed with that, he moved on to major construction, built all the houses, and then he said, you know what, I think I'm just going to buy a professional flute and be a professional flutist. And so he's won awards with his flute quartet ensemble. He's played with us. He's played solo concerto competitions in St. Pete and with the Tampa Bay Symphony, and he is just absolutely amazing. So I was taking into account all of his talents. And then the second musician that we have is Amy Collins. She is professor at USF for oboe, and she pretty much plays principal oboe in almost every symphony around Tampa. And she is probably single-handedly responsible for starting my performance career when I moved back to Tampa Bay. And she has a nickname, and it's no joke. When you go out into the parking lot, you can look at her car tag. She has it pre-made, and it says Oboe Goddess. And so it's perfect for today because we're going to be involving the gods and goddesses. And then the final person that you're going to hear is Javi Rodriguez. He is our principal bassoonist, and he's been with us for about 10 years. He plays in the Venice Symphony. Absolutely remarkable, and he is one of my colleagues at Hillsborough Community College, and I think that you'll be really entertained by his solo piece. So I just want to dive into that real quick. He is going to be playing the role of Hades, and as Hades, he's going to be playing a very modern piece of music that's going to use some pretty much out there techniques. So when we're talking about programming, none of the music on this program you will recognize at all. You won't know anything. But it will make you feel a lot of things, and it's going to put you into a space of creativity and hopefully inspiration and innovation. And so my goal with his particular piece is these mixed techniques are different sounds and key clicks and things that don't normally come out of a bassoon, at least not on purpose, but he will be doing them with purpose, and I hope that things of that nature throughout the entire program have that kind of inspiration for everyone. So final question before we start to wrap up. You were asked to do this, you're excited for the story, you're excited for the telling. What in your platform in South Tampa, connecting your elementary music students and all the different extracurricular ensembles they do, would you want all of the public to know about this performance and why it's important for everybody of all ages?
That's a great question. I do believe that as a lover of music, being able to share outside of your classroom, connecting the real world music with school music, with young adults, with young children, ensuring that everyone has a place in this world for making music or just enjoying music. And being able to connect your emotions with the music is very, very important to me. So even in my classroom, we listen to something, we pause, and then we connect and talk about it. Never saying it's right or wrong, but just allowing our students to have their feelings about something. And to me, having an opportunity in our community to still have that, coming to a concert and feeling something, that's important. For myself as just the narrator, but just as an audience and taking it in is incredibly important.
Well, I have no doubt that you all will feel a lot after this performance. So thank you for joining us for the pre-concert chat. We're going to allow the musicians to kind of take the stage, get their reeds playing, and we will see you at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me.
What else do you have after this? Oh, really? How long will you do that? This week? Really? And I have that in my calendar. How many rehearsals do you guys have? Tuesdays or Sundays? Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, it's really a concert because you just blends everything? Oh, it is? Oh, Thursday night is on Friday. This is a Sunday night service, which is just a little festival service. It's a good group. It's a good group. And it's well, everything is also really well done. Well done. You know how it is, like, unfortunately, that's all done on the same book. No, really?
Good evening. My name is Matthew McCutchen. I am the Artistic Director of the Florida Wind Band, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this, the first Lights Out Chamber Concert of the season. Tonight's performance, which we've titled The Descent and the Bloom, and we're honored to return to the beautiful Palma Ceia Presbyterian Church for a 3-concert series, and we hope you'll come back. Now, if you've been to any of our concerts over the past year, perhaps you noticed that tonight you got to walk into the front door, which you haven't been able to for an entire year, and we had the ribbon cutting today, so some significant hurricane damage, but we're glad to invite you through the front door instead of through the sides. We're very grateful to the church's congregation, staff, and the leadership for the partnership and generosity in making this sanctuary a home for music. Tonight's performance is made possible through generous support of our community, including our diamond sponsor, Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Rich Lundahl. Our platinum sponsors, True Smile Dental Studios, Tony Negron and Brian Panetta, Shirley Perdomo and the Voss Delaney family. Gold sponsors, Derek Thomas, Fidelity National Financial, and Ken and Janet Watts. Silver and bronze and Caesar supporters, you'll find their names in your program. And of course, the artistic team, administrative staff, and dedicated volunteers of the Florida Wind Band. And above all, we thank you for coming out tonight, Sunday night, to a Chamber Winds concert. What a wonderful audience, and thank you for being here. Before we begin the story, allow me to introduce the four extraordinary musicians who will bring this ancient myth to life. Each instrument you hear tonight not only paints colors and emotion, it also embodies a character in our tale. And I want you to know, these are, when I say extraordinary musicians, they are extraordinary musicians. What you will hear tonight was done on one rehearsal. On flute, portraying Persephone, the young goddess of spring and transformation, is Robert Neale. Robert is a versatile flutist who performs with the Florida Wind Band, the Tampa Bay Symphony, and the Flute's Four Quartet. Listen closely. His playing carries the lightness and curiosity of the maiden who changes the world above and below. On oboe, representing Demeter, the goddess of the harvest and mother of Persephone, is Amy Collins. And I cannot tell you how appropriate it is that Amy is representing a goddess. Amy is the oboe professor at the University of South Florida and principal oboist of the Venice Symphony and the Village Philharmonic and just about every other orchestra in the nearby area. Her sound is full of longing, warmth, and power, and as a mother desperate to restore what's been lost. On clarinet, portraying Hermes, the swift messenger god and boundary crosser, is Tony Negron. Tony is our principal clarinetist and the executive director of the Florida Wind Band. He also performs with the Greenville Symphony, the Florida Orchestra, and the Orlando Philharmonic. Hermes moves quickly, sometimes with charm, sometimes with urgency, and always with purpose. On bassoon, in the role of Hades, Lord of the Underworld, is Javi Rodriguez. Javi teaches band and chorus at Tinker K-8 on MacDill Air Force Base and performs with the Venice and Gulf Coast Symphonies. In his playing, you will hear the weight of shadow, silence, and the unexpected tenderness of a God who waits rather than takes. Tonight, we are honored to have with us an exceptional artist and educator, Ernesta Chicklowski, to serve as our narrator. Ernesta is a celebrated music educator with over 25 years of experience, and she's a passionate advocate for music's power to inspire and transform. She's led award-winning programs in Tampa for nearly 2 decades at Roosevelt Elementary and is a 3-time Grammy Music Educator Award finalist. Her voice and vision have touched countless students in this community and beyond, and audiences, and tonight she brings to life the ancient myth of Persephone, a journey of light and shadow, of descent and bloom. Please join me in welcoming Ernesta Chicklowski.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be among such wonderful musicians and artists. Now I invite you to turn down the lights of the world you know and descend with us into a myth of loss, power, of change, and of the blooming that follows darkness. Before the seasons, before the frost, before the call, before the fall, there was only bloom. The earth was endless spring, and its crown jewel was Persephone, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest. She was light incarnate. Where she stepped, wildflowers rose. Where she laughed, the air grew warm. She lived in the fields with nymphs and creatures of the wood, never straying far from her mother's eye, but far below, in the silent depths of the underworld, eyes watched her, eyes that saw not a girl, but a queen, not awakened. Hades, god of the dead, sat on his throne of obsidian and listened to the earth above and to the girl whose joy echoed like a bell through stone. And so, one morning, in a sunlit meadow, the world changed. Persephone wandered further than usual. She spotted a flower that she'd never seen before, blood red, trembling with its own strange breath. She knelt, reached. The ground split open. A chariot, black as void, burst forth in a roar with hooves and wind. Hades reached for her, and the moment their eyes met, neither looked away. The earth sealed behind them. Silence returned, and for the first time in history, spring vanished. Deep beneath the surface, Persephone opened up her eyes, not in terror, but in wonder. The underworld did not scream or wail. It was quiet, ancient. She wandered marbled halls and shadowed groves. There were gardens there too, pale things that bloomed in darkness. She did not speak. Not yet, at least. She listened. She watched, and slowly something within her began to bloom again, not in petals, but in will. Above, the world grew cold. Demeter, once gentle, now wild, scoured the lands for her daughter. She questioned winds, rivers, animals. She struck the earth and wept into it. "Where is my child?" she cried. No one answered. Crops failed. Trees bore no fruit. The world began to wither as a mother grieved. Hades did not chain Persephone. He did not look Lock her in darkness. He gave her space and asked a single question. What do you see here that you do not see above? She said nothing. But in the stillness of the underworld, she began to see not only death, but truth and silence and depth. She stood taller in those halls than she ever had in sunlight. Spirits passed her in reverent silence. None cried, none raged. They moved like memory. Persephone watched them, and they, her. She was no longer a little girl lost. She felt seen. And for the first time, she began to wonder, was this where she was meant to rule? The crown was not forced upon her. She reached for it. The queen of the dead was not cold. She was steel, fire, resolve. Persephone stood at Hades' side, not as a captive, but as an equal. Hades had not sought love. He had sought recognition. He too was alone, feared, misunderstood. In Persephone he found not a light to steal, but a shadow to match. And they, although they spoke rarely, his silence now said, "I have waited for you." But the world above had fallen into famine. Mortals cried out, the gods grew restless. Zeus, king of the sky, intervened. He summoned Hermes, swift-footed trickster, and sent him down with the bargain. Bring her back, or all will fail. Before she returned, Hades offered her a parting gift, a fruit, red, ripe, gleaming in the half-light. It was the pomegranate. She knew what that meant. 6 seeds, 6 months. She ate them all, but not out of hunger, out of choice. A part of her would remain, and she would belong to both worlds. She emerged into sunlight, not as she left it. She was spring and a shadow. She carried both the bloom and the ash, and her mother embraced her, and the world began to breathe again. The fields green, the trees bore fruit, mortals rejoice, unaware of the cost. For Persephone had returned, and with her the bloom, but her soul had deepened. She was no longer just a girl of the spring, she was the wheel. With each passing day the world danced, bees hum, rivers ran, lovers met in fields. Summer rose like a golden tide, radiant and fleeting. And Persephone walked among mortals, her steps stirring color from the earth. Yet, beyond our eyes, the shadow remained, not as sorrow, but as knowing. She was no longer a child of innocence. She was a keeper of the balance, a steward of life's golden edge. With each passing day, the world danced, bees hum, rivers ran, lovers met in fields. Summer rose like a golden tide. All was light. But even in joy, the wise knew change was coming. The wind shifted, trees whispered in dry tongues, the harvest reared. And with the final breath of summer, Persephone kissed her mother's cheek. This time, Demeter did not plead. She only held her daughter for longer, for she too had changed. Even goddesses learned to let go, and so Persephone descended once more, not out of duty, but devotion, to a world that needed her. She crossed the threshold of light and shadow, not as a maiden, not as a bride, but as queen between root and star she reigns, a boundary walker, a cycle keeper. Persephone was not torn between two worlds. She binds them. In her, the seasons breathe. In her, life knows its rhythm. even as mortals hurry forward into harvest, into wars, into love. She drifts above them, timeless, a goddess in motion, a whisper in the leaves. They do not always see her, but when the air stills and a golden light halos the fields, she is there, watching, waiting, guiding the wheel. She moves quickly now, with Hermes' swiftness, with Hades' silence, between the realms, between hearts, carrying stories in her wake. In a moment, she is the bloom, in another, the wilt. And yet, her presence never wavers. Persephone walks not behind time. But even queens need rest. Even deities who hold weights of the world in their hands must still be still. In this pause, the world exhales. Persephone sits, hands folded, eyes half closed. She is not idle. She is remembering everything she has seen in bloom, in wither, in silence. She gathers, she holds until it is time. Then movement again, not in panic, but of purpose. The queen descends, not fleeing, not falling. She chooses. Through whirlwinds of color and time, she cuts a path down, down into the deep, into her throne. The underworld awaits her, not with fear, but with reverence. A girl skips through leaves, unaware of the ancient rhythm her steps echo. An old woman bends to sow seeds, unknowingly invoking a goddess. Somewhere, a shadow softens. Somewhere else, a light steadies. Persephone watches it all, not as a visitor, but as a guardian. The wheel turns, the veil thins, and when the leaves fall, the days grow short. Do not grieve. Do not fear. She is not gone. She is gathering. She is queen. And when she returns, the world will bloom.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Dan Buffington. I'm the chairman for the Florida Wind Band Board of Directors, and what an amazing performance. Please help me welcome and express our appreciation to Ernesta Chicklowski for a stirring and emotive performance. And to each of our amazing and talented musicians, what an amazing night this was. If you're interested in finding out more information about how to support or sponsor or be part of future activities for the Florida Wind Band, you can join us on the floridawindband.org website. Also, I wanted to encourage you that if you have any questions, you can meet with myself, other board members, or volunteers that are in the lobby. We just really appreciate and thank you for your support this evening. And don't forget to look at and register for tickets for the November 9th. It's been an amazing season with so much more to come. November 9th is a next performance. It's a full band performance. It'll be at 4 o'clock at USF in the Music Hall. And we just thank you so much for joining us tonight.